Today we're making Crockpot Lasagna. Here are the ingredients that you will need. Lasagna noodles, shredded mozzarella, Italian blend or shredded Parmesan, spinach, pasta sauce, cottage cheese, ricotta cheese, eggs, basil, and a Italian sausage meat. Hi, Dr. Faye Schumann. I am going to show you guys how to make Crockpot lasagna today. I'm going to show you just the regular version and then a low carb version, because in our household we kind of do both and want to just give you guys healthier alternatives for anything that you make in your home. Alright, so we're going to start off with just a couple of the ingredients that you'll need. Ricotta cheese or cottage cheese, your pasta sauce, mozzarella, an Italian blend or shredded Parmesan, your Italian sausage. I'm using chicken today because that's what I could find. Basil, spinach, and your lasagna noodles. Okay, so what we're gonna do is I already pre-cooked the meat, and I'm just gonna go ahead and add my sauce into the pan that I used. I'm trying to minimize how many dishes I make, so I just browned the meat. I'm adding probably all but a third of the sauce because I want to use the rest of the sauce to put on the bottom layer for the crock pot. Okay, so I got this mixed. I'll be using this as one of my layers. Okay, so it looks like that. Okay, we'll set that aside. The other thing we're going to do is we are going to now do something with the cheeses. Now, you could just use straight up ricotta, and for us, we have all boys in the house, and so my family just eats a lot more food. So I'm always trying to figure out ways to bring the food up in more bulk, but yet still make it healthy. So we have the ricotta cheese, and I just happen to have some cottage cheese also, and we're going to add this together. So I'm doing probably about a cup each. Now, what I learned from my mom is we used eggs in the kind of the ricotta cottage cheese mixture, and it just kind of helps to bring it all together so it's like its own layer. And also for us, it's more protein. So I'm just going to add that egg in there. I'm going to do 2 eggs. And then we're going to mix it together, and this will be one of our layers. Okay, so nothing fancy here. Just ways of making your food run longer or fill up more of space without spending more money. Okay, because the ricotta cheese is kind of expensive. Cottage cheese is not. Okay, and just so you know, I am a big proponent of using full fat. Now granted, we have other courses where we talk about when you mix carbs and fat or protein and fat together. But the general rule is if you are trying to go low carb, you want to do a carb with a protein or a protein with a fat. And so I'm going to show you the different versions a little bit later here, how to just do a low carb lasagna, and it actually would help you lose weight, believe it or not. Okay, so that is all mixed. I'm going to take the basil next. Love basil. You don't have to do this, but we love basil in our family, and during the summer we love having basil garden, like a lot of basil. Okay, so we're just gonna chop this up. Nothing fancy. Okay, chopping it up. And again, you don't have to do this step, but I enjoy doing this because I like introducing flavors to my children. I have learned that if you don't challenge their palate with spices and seasonings, naturally they're gonna want to go towards this more sweet tasting things, right? So if you challenge their palate with herbs and spices, you're training them to appreciate good food and homemade quality good food, okay? So that's one thing that I started early with my kiddos, is just getting different seasonings in there. The other cool thing is when we do a basil garden, I find that my kids really appreciate where our food comes from, and they're a lot more willing to try these new foods. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Okay, it looks a little interesting, but don't worry. It's runny for a reason, because we need moisture. I am not going to boil my noodles. I don't want to add more work to my plate, and I don't want to make more dishes. Plus, boiling noodles is kind of just one of those things that's not on people's favorite top priorities to do. Okay, so we're ready. We're ready to just go ahead and make this lasagna. So the first step we're going to do is we're going to dump this into my crock pot. After, of course, move these for you. After, of course, got to spray, okay? Because you just want to make sure that your things aren't sticking, right? So we're just going to spray. I just like to use coconut oil. You can use avocado oil. Just one health tip, not a fan of the canola oils. Those are genetically modified, and they're usually not a good source of fat for you. Okay, so here we go. Sauce. I'm just going to dump that in. Okay, spread it around, right? Just so your noodles don't stick. Okay. So we're going to bring you closer to see how I layer this. Alright, so we're at a different angle so you can see how I'm doing all of this. So I have my sauce in there. You grab your lasagna noodles, and I'm not boiling them. I'm just going to break them up and just kind of put them so that I'm making a nice lasagna layer. Now do this because we want to maximize the space, right? One thing that I'm going to do here is, because I want to enjoy lasagna and I'm doing low cal or low carb, I will just put a layer of spinach. Some people can also do, I've seen them do layers of sliced deli meat, and so then you really have a meat lovers going. Okay, so that's my first layer there. Now the next thing I'm going to put on is that ricotta cheese. Okay, and we'll just kind of pour it in there, and then we're going to smear it all over, okay? We'll go right over. Might not seem easy, but it's gonna work. We'll go right over our spinach. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect because, well, the next layer coming is cheese. So we're gonna do some mozzarella cheese. Just spread that all over. Because lasagna is all about layers. Layers and flavor. Okay, so there's the mozzarella. A little Italian blend. Okay. Don't want to go too much because you have to kind of portion it out. Next comes our meat and sauce layer. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect because it's all going to meld together very nicely once it's cooked up. Okay? Next, I put another layer of noodles. Oh, actually, you know what? I'm going to put spinach for all. We're going to do a whole nother layer for everyone. Okay? Just keeping in mind that this section is for your low carb family members. A lot of people think, why would you put all this spinach in there? Well, it sounds funny, but after it's all cooked up and mixed or melted and heated together, you almost cannot even tell there's spinach in there unless you just detest spinach. So like I said, if you're not a spinach fan, then you can use deli meat, okay? And I've done that before and it comes out tasting really good, and it's all low carb. Okay, so we'll just keep going here, and we're gonna speed it up for you so you don't have to watch me do this. It's ready to cook. Put that on there, and then you can pause. Okay, so we're going to teach you how to set your temperature for Crockpot Lasagna. I'm going to cook it on high. Okay, so we'll select high, and then I want 4 hours, and then that's all you do. Okay, it's ready. We got it done an hour early, so it looked like it had another hour to go. So it was 3 hours to make this. And so here's what it looks like. I'm gonna scoop it up. Okay, so you can see that their layers happened. All right. And so you could just scoop a little for each person. And then I'm going to show you, I made the low carb option. So the low carb option, if you just scoop it out, looks like that. Okay, so it's not like a typical lasagna that we'd get in a pan. It's one that you would just be able to scoop out, and I didn't have to do any watching, and all the noodles cooked through well, and there you go. It's delicious.